There were two mistakes young men would make when they would first pick up a scythe. They would try to do all the work with their arms, and they would make their swaths far too wide. They would attack the grass, as if they thought it would get up and run away if they didn't kill it quickly. It would be their fathers or their uncles who would demonstrate how much better off they would be if they would put their backs into the motion too, swinging the snath in an almost indecent, leisurely, metronomical sway. Draw the blade back, hands on the nibs, as the right leg strides ahead, then cut. Imagine that sickle moon is the tip of a pendulum on a tall clock, as the left leg walks forward. That was the way. If the blade were sufficiently sharp, great tufts of grass would collapse around the metal as it advanced through the field, and their arms would not feel like anvils. The first time that Mary Deerfield's husband hit her, she didn't relate the motion to scything. She was in too much pain, and she was too surprised. Her skin stung. It was the second time, half a year later, just before she turned 20, and just after the first anniversary of the day they were married, that she noted that he punched her the way a knowledgeable man would scythe. His arm swung effortlessly, the movement graceful and efficient, an arc. She fell against the pumpkin pine table, the pewter candlesticks toppled over, and the tankard of hard cider he had been drinking spilled onto the floor and into the trencher with their dinner. Still, however, she saw most clearly the image of the men scything, the details from her memory more concrete in her mind than even the way the cider was puddling that moment in the stewed pumpkin, and the wave-like rocking of their upper bodies and arms. He called her a whore, and she said he knew that she wasn't. He said he had seen her looking at other men, younger men, with lust in her gaze. She said this wasn't true, but she thought he was going to hit her again, and so she prepared herself for the blow, her shoulders scrunched against her neck and her hands before her face. But he didn't hit her. He was shaking with anger, unfounded though it was, and she hoped a good measure of guilt. But he didn't strike her again. Instead, he stomped out the door, saddled Sugar, a handsome 8-year-old gray gelding with a black mane, and he was gone. She placed her fingers on her cheek and wondered at its warmth. Blood gathering under the skin? There would be swelling. It was inevitable. And she was glad that they had been alone. She was dizzy with shame. She took his mug and held the cold pewter against the skin where he had hit her, and sat down in her chair. She contemplated a mystery. How is it I am humiliated when I am alone? Does not humiliation demand an audience?